Arab Students Association at Stanford.
The International Socialist Organization.
Stanford NAACP.
Students for Justice in Palestine.
Students for Alternatives to Militarism.
The First Generation Low Income Partnership.
The Muslim Community.
Stanford Asian American Activism Committee.
Mention that Stanford refuses to ignore the flagrant human rights violations that are being committed against the Palestinian people. The struggle of the Palestinian people may be happening 7,500 miles away, but their struggle is too close to home for us.
Yeah. Our organization is dedicated to nonviolent and peaceful means of conflict resolution. Two criteria we believe the divestment campaign satisfies in its goals of reducing human suffering through pressuring companies complicit in these atrocities.
We are
Jordanian.
Kuwaiti.
Egyptian.
Saudi Arabian.
Palestinian. This past summer, we watched in horror the attacks in Gaza.
We were witnesses to the constant dehumanization of Palestinian lives.
Through divestment, we are ending our university's complicity in the suffering of our friends,
brothers,
sisters,
Aunts,
uncles
in Palestine.
Let us exercise our privilege as Stanford students to divest.
Let us prove to ourselves and Palestinians that nonviolent resistance to the occupation is effective.
As members of a global community,
we do not support imperialist wars against people of color.
We recognize the system that worked to silence our voices,
but also believe in the power of the people to empower, educate, and organize.
We support Stanford of occupied Palestine.
As Muslims, we are inspired by the following verse.
O you who believe, be firm supporters of justice, even if it be against yourselves, as witnesses before God.
But we reject that Palestinian rights are a religious issue.
The crux of this issue is that as humans, we are ethically bound to speak when we see injustice.
We cannot be complicit in profiting from human suffering.
As a queer liberation organization, we recognize that freedom involves more than legal equality. It means challenging the status quo, resisting the pressure to assimilate, and envisioning a world where all people can manifest their identities with integrity. We therefore acknowledge the call for liberation from Palestinian civil society, including queer advocacy organizations, and respond with our enthusiastic endorsement of the resolution.
The Student and Labor Alliance supports divestment as a means of showing solidarity with workers around the world.
Divestment is an effective and non-violent strategy for ending illegal occupation of Palestine.
We recognize that economic justice cannot be separated from political justice,
and that we can only achieve our liberation collectively.
Since 1968, the PSU has been committed to the well-being of all students on campus. We support divestment from companies that facilitate human rights and justices in Palestine because we believe that everyone deserves the right to a life of dignity, justice, and equality.
The International Socialist Organization at Stanford is part of SOUP and supports divestment because we seek a left alternative to a world of war, racism, and poverty. Condemning human rights abuses in Palestine goes hand in hand with socialism.
We, as the Stanford NAACP, work to ensure political, educational, social, and economic justice for all persons. It is our duty to resist oppression locally, nationally, and globally.
We support Stanford of occupied Palestine because peace cannot be achieved without justice.
From Ferguson to Palestine,
occupation is a crime.
We personally understand the psychological and social consequences of monetary oppression facing our own communities.
We recognize similar struggles in the economic blockade of Palestine.
And that's why we stand in solidarity with Stanford of occupied Palestine.
Hey, we're students for justice in Palestine.
We organize in solidarity with the Palestinian struggle for liberation and self-determination.
We recognize divestment as one step on the path to that liberation.
And after much deliberation and heated debate, we decided to support the efforts of Stanford out of occupied Palestine.
Because
it's kind of how we do.
Stanford divest! Stanford divest!
Stanford divest!
Stanford divest!
Stanford divest!
Stanford divest!
Stanford divest!
Stanford divest!
Stanford divest!
We're automatically supporting pure savagery. Imagine how you feel if this was your family.
Free my people, long live Palestine. We will never let you go.
Sing it with me now. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free,